Darkness stretched across the snowbound landscape. The spaced-out streetlights blinked low and slow. I sat in the front passenger seat, eyes glued to the window. My thoughts drifted in a mix of monotony and comfortable boredom. In the cup holder sat a cold cup of coffee my dad had bought a few towns over in a foolish attempt to stay alert. We had been driving for 12 hours. We would keep driving through the night until the early morning to reach our destination in one go. My dad was stubborn. He only spent money on services he deemed necessary. Comfort was a luxury. If it had still been warm outside, he would have insisted on sleeping in the car, knowing he would wake up with an aching back. Arguing with him would have been futile. I turned in my seat and dozed off. I always loved the feeling of sleeping in a moving car and waking up at a new destination. It gave me a strange peace. I let my dad take care of the journey, as if nothing bad could happen while he was in control. The engine whirred. The radio faintly played a segment of the mystery show, Unheard, recounting the story of the Baconer missing cosmonauts of 1993. A mild bump shook me awake. We had passed the city and were back on endless country roads, through fields and forests. The street lamps vanished, leaving only our high beams to lead the way. The farmers' fields gave way to dense forests on each side. Snow glittered on every branch. A small, makeshift parking bay appeared ahead. My dad pulled in, put the car in park, and announced he needed to take a leak. I shared the urge after 7 hours of non-stop driving. We stepped into the woods, fresh footprints forming in untouched snow. A brisk breeze unsettled the snow on the branches above. It pummeled down onto my head, slipping under my jacket and melting against my skin. My dad chuckled. I tossed a snowball at his head. A quick, hectic snowball fight erupted. I claimed a decisive victory, though I suspected my dad let me win. When we returned to the car, the sky had turned overcast. Dark clouds hung heavy. White specks appeared, the first snowflakes of a storm. "Storm's coming," my dad said matter-of-factly. "We better get going before it starts." We got back on the road and the flakes turned into heavy snowfall. The cleared asphalt quickly became a slippery mess. We pushed on, refusing to get snowed in. The wind picked up, shooting white specks at our windshield. Visibility dropped to near zero. We slowed, trying desperately to keep the road in sight. Minutes passed and the path faded into a white sheet. We barely stayed on the edge of the road. "We should stop," I begged. "If we stop here, we ain't going to be able to get moving again," my dad argued. Before we could argue further, the car came to a gliding halt. Snow piled up far higher than we could traverse. "Fuck," my dad yelled, then quickly caught himself. "Sorry, didn't mean to say that." The single word terrified me. He was losing control. "We should turn around," I suggested. "It's no use. The roads won't get better the other way. We're in too deep," he replied. He pulled his cell phone from the glove compartment and tried to call for help. There was no signal. "What are we going to do?" I asked. "It's going to be all right," he said reassuringly. "Your grandparents know we're coming. Once they realize we're not there, they'll send someone. I'm sure of it." "How do you know?" I asked. "Trust me. I've known your grandparents longer than you have. We'll be fine, as long as we make it through the night. It's going to be cold, so I need you to get dressed, all right?" He replied. His confidence calmed me. I pulled several layers of clothes from the suitcase in the trunk. We had enough snacks to keep us satiated. I dug out the presents for my grandparents and set aside my dad's prized hunting rifle. "Don't worry. If we get stuck for more than a day, I'll go hunt something for us to eat," he joked. "We'll be out of here by tomorrow. We just have to stay put until someone comes." We turned the car off, keeping the residual heat that faded minute by minute. The cabin trapped the warmth for a short time. I tried to sleep, hoping the roads would clear and I would wake in a new place. My dad stayed awake, checking his phone for a signal. Whenever the temperature dropped, he restarted the engine long enough to heat the car, keeping an eye on the fuel gauge. Despite the predicament, I felt safe with him. I fell into a deep sleep full of bizarre dreams about forest giants and snow trolls, triggered by the howling wind and the pounding snow. I woke to my dad opening the driver's door. He turned to me, shovel in hand. "Stay put, I'm just going to clear the exhaust pipe," he explained. The door had been open for only 7 seconds, but the temperature inside dropped drastically. He held a flashlight up, its beam cutting through the snowfall for only a few feet. He cleared the exhaust pipe of snow, preventing carbon monoxide from building up. He also cleared a narrow path between the snow and the passenger door, allowing us both to exit quickly if needed. He got back in, started the engine, and heated the interior again. His hands shivered. He ordered me to try to rest while he stayed awake, to make sure we wouldn't be buried. I fell asleep again, uneasy now that even my dad might not be able to keep us safe. The door opened once more. An hour had passed. He needed to clear the exhaust pipe, the roof, and the doors again. Exhaustion and worsening weather slowed him. I kept my eyes and ears peeled, praying someone would rescue us. The road ahead was invisible under the snow. The wind howled. Apart from the scraping of the shovel and thumps of tossed snow, there was nothing else. Then we heard something faint, cutting through the storm. I considered opening my door to listen, but my dad jumped back into the car and told me to stay quiet. He looked pale, not just from cold. Terror glimmered in his eyes. "What was that?" "Quiet," he whispered aggressively. I froze, eyes fixed on the storm. My heart pounded. I tried to hear the sound again. "Please, help me." A desperate voice called through the storm, impossibly loud. It was not a human voice. My dad stepped outside again, his fear turning to determination. "Hello, is there anyone out there?" he called, waving his flashlight. "Stop it, please," the voice shouted, getting closer. "Where are you?" Dad asked again. "Help me," the voice repeated, not acknowledging us. "I can't see you." "Just follow the light," he said, still waving the light. "Oh God, no," the voice cried. Even closer. Something was wrong. I felt a primal instinct telling me to run. "Dad, get back in the car," I pleaded, but he was too far away. I opened the passenger door and stepped outside, calling for my dad. In the distance, I could just see his flashlight waving. "Help me," the voice shouted, unnaturally loud. "Over here," my dad responded. "Dad, come back." The pleas turned into a relentless, ear-shattering scream. It sounded as if it came from above, from something too tall to be human. I cried out for my dad, but he did not answer. "Dad, please," I begged. His flashlight hung still, then began to spin as if tossed. I prepared to chase after him, but something pulled me back into the car. "Close the door," my dad ordered. I obeyed and locked it. "Shh," he hissed for me to stay low, turned off the headlights and everything inside, plunging us into absolute darkness. We lay there for minutes, listening for any sign of life outside. Just as I thought the coast might be clear, another guttural scream shattered the silence. I dug deeper into the seat, hoping it would keep me safe, but whatever lurked outside did not know where we were. "What is it?" I whispered. "I don't know," my dad whispered back. "Just try to stay quiet." The digital clock on the dashboard read just past 3 in the morning. If we survived until dawn, it would take hours for anyone to realize we were missing. Fleeing on foot would mean death by the environment or the monster. We remained hidden, counting the minutes as the snow buried us. We could not use the engine, lest we alert the creature. The temperature sank below 0. My dad wrapped his arms around me, but I doubted he could feel his own arms. "It's going to be okay, Mari, I promise," he whispered. "I'll get us out of here." The screaming persisted, getting closer at first, but always circling us. Our car was covered in a deep layer of snow, so the monster could only find us if it stepped. As morning approached, the storm calmed, but the cold remained deadly. My body was shutting down. "Hey, Maddie, stay awake," my dad whispered, shaking me. "I'm so cold," I stuttered. Another scream echoed in the distance, a bit farther this time. This was our only chance. If we didn't act fast, the cold would kill us before the monster did. "We need to warm the car, but I have to clear the exhaust pipe again, okay?" he said. Both doors were trapped behind piles of snow. He crawled to the back of the car, guided by the dim courtesy lamp, and opened the trunk from inside. He paused, looking at the hunting rifle. He loaded the rifle, placed it within reach, and began digging out snow without standing up. He cleared the exhaust, grabbed the rifle, and signaled me to turn on the engine. The lights stayed off, but the engine roared to life. He stayed outside, rifle in hand, unable to see the thing from a distance. Seconds after the engine started, a horrendous continuous scream cut through the air. He fired a shot into the darkness, then another, preparing a fourth. Something stepped onto the roof of our car, bending it inward. I dove down to avoid being crushed, losing sight of my dad. He let out a pained yelp as his rifle fell to the ground. Something wrapped around his legs, pulling him up. His screams mixed with the creature's. I stayed silent, crawling through the damaged car to reach the rifle. I had never been allowed to hold a firearm, but I had been taught its safety. I made it through the trunk, crawling outside into the snow. The storm had subsided, and a near full moon cast a dim white light on the landscape. Above the car stood the creature 10 feet tall, antler-like protrusions on its shoulders, its head fused to its torso. It stuffed my dad's leg in. I grabbed the rifle and fired. A loud bang deafened me for a moment. I fell to the ground from the recoil. The shot distracted the creature enough for my dad to fall into a pile of snow. But it was not wounded. The creature turned its gaze to me, its large round eyes black and empty, its mouth a gash of rows of pointed teeth. "Maddie," I heard my dad yell. It reached out its hand. I could not even scream as my life neared its end. "Leave him alone," my dad shouted, rolling down from the snow. He grabbed the rifle, cycled it, and fired, hitting the creature directly in an eye. The impact sent it into a fit of agonizing rage, but the pain distracted it long enough for my dad to push me under the car, then climb under. When we were sure it had gone, we climbed back into the still-running car and closed the trunk. The moon was setting, giving way to a new day, but we were not safe yet. My dad's leg had been bitten off. He used his belt as a tourniquet, slowing the bleeding, but he needed immediate medical attention. "Someone will come," he promised. "How do you know?" I asked. "You just have to trust me, you just have to hang in there, you'll be fine," he replied. "What about you?" I asked. "I'm not going anywhere, I promise." Hours passed and no one came. My dad fell into a deep sleep from which I could not wake him. I lay my head on his chest and cried, knowing he would soon die. The engine stalled, leaving us in absolute silence. The first rays of sunrise peeked over the horizon, dancing among the snow-covered trees. If not for the horrors we endured, it would have been a beautiful morning. I exited the car to see if the road led anywhere, but everything looked identical under the thick snow. I could not tell which way to go. In the distance, I saw something shifting among the trees and heard a faint whirring sound. 5 snowmobiles emerged from the tree line, spotting me from afar. They wore bright orange outfits with crosses on their backs. They halted around our car and tended to my unconscious dad while one wrapped me in an orange heat. They asked what had happened, but I was too shocked to answer. They loaded my dying father onto a stretcher and prepared to take him to a hospital. I tried to warn them about the monster, but only incoherent words came out. They reassured me that we were safe. Later, I woke in a hospital bed, unharmed except for mild hypothermia. My grandmother sat beside me, sleeping in a chair. My dad was nowhere in sight. She promised everything would be fine. She explained my dad had been taken for surgery and would lose his leg, but would otherwise be okay. She asked what had happened, but I wanted my dad there to support my story. She respected my wishes and told me I could talk when I felt ready. A couple of days later, 2 men in plain clothes visited. They asked about the snowstorm. They were not receptive to my refusal to talk without my dad. I told them about the creature. They mentioned a threshold event, but gave no details. They said my dad needed further treatment at their facility. I asked to go with him, but they denied me, citing infection risk. They tried to reassure me, but it felt insincere. I was discharged after 5 days. My grandparents told me 3 other cars had been stuck on the same road that night, only a few miles apart. Their passengers were never found. They were reported missing the next morning, and I know they will never be found. It took 2 months before I saw my dad again. He was physically healthy apart from the missing leg, but the trauma had changed him. He stared out the window at the snow for weeks, calming only when spring melted the snow. He never talked about that night, though he confirmed it was real. My dad died last year, 19 years after the event, from an unrelated illness. He never got over the trauma of that December night, and neither did I. The uncertainty and lack of answers have left me unable to forget. I will always remember my dad for the man he was, a man who would have done anything to keep me safe.